Hello and welcome to PoliSciPulse's video channel. What's the most topical thing going on today in the world of politics? Well, it is the presidential election. We're going to discuss the presidential election and more in today's edition. The first part of this is I'm going to address a couple of things that I've seen on the news today. While PoliSciPulse does not support any candidate nor give a tacit endorsement to any presidential candidate, we do believe that both Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump deserve a fair shake. Today in the news, one of the things that I have seen going around is that Donald Trump somehow revealed classified information at a press briefing, in which he said that there was a Saudi Arabian base that we are paying rent on. The story goes that shortly thereafter, his security clearances for briefings were revoked. Now, I don't know about the second part, and I can kind of understand that. The quote that he actually made was that we were, quote, paying our rent on Saudi Arabian bases. The big news article, the big interesting thing about this is directly under the YouTube link, I saw a site called militarybases.net, which had better not be classified because it shows up in Facebook, and it said that there were not one, but 5 bases in Saudi Arabia. Now, Donald Trump also did not say whether we were still using the base, but that we were paying rent on it. To continue, another article that's been going around has said that Donald Trump said to a female reporter for her to be quiet. Well, if you view the entire video clip as it's found all over the place, I think the one I was looking at was Gawker. When you looked at Gawker and you watched the video clip, the reporter, who happened to be female, was constantly interrupting him. It almost sounded like she was asking him a question and already prepared to answer the question that she asked. Now, the reporter, who I believe was from NBC or MSNBC, does not have a habit of doing this routinely. However, MSNBC's news reporters have interrupted him in the past. If you recall one particular instance when he removed a male reporter from the press briefing. Again, he was interrupting Donald Trump. Now, if you, for instance, forget for a minute that Donald Trump is running for office, he is the CEO. Any CEO in that situation, where they're interrupted by anyone in the middle of briefing about their businesses, would have said, be quiet. That being said, however, it was rude, it was impolitic perhaps, but the reaction was understandable. Had I been the reporter, I would have expected to be shushed by him too if I was doing the same thing. So, we have 2 articles about Donald Trump, and we've seen many of them by Hillary Clinton, which are what I'm going to call faux outrage articles, FAUX outrage articles. Basically, this means that a company or an article writer seeking to be trendy noticed a particularly isolated, outrageous incident, and they are going to kick up a big fuss about it. This has happened when Bernie has said things when he was running. It's happened when Hillary Clinton has run. It's part of the reason why this happens is, especially in a blogging media site, maybe not the TV media sites, but definitely in the blogging media sites, is that the internet's saturated with blogs. I have my own blog. I'm not expecting anyone to even look at this video, but if you are, great. But the fact of the matter, because I refuse to do the outrage and the strong opinions, right? As a result, what happens is blogs, particularly commercial blogs, have to get people clicking on them, get people reading, because that's how they make their money. So to do this, they create this outrageous headline, which is either misleading or it magnifies what the actual problem was in order to get people to click on the article. This also goes on TV, but you more so see it on TV than in the news blogs. Now today we're going to discuss a very interesting, we're going to discuss the current polls in the state of the presidential race. Remember that Hillary Clinton has just come off of her convention speech, which means that these numbers will be inflated. On Wednesday, there was a poll released by the LA Times that said that Donald Trump was leading the election by 7 points. A Democrat or a Republican losing points, the other side gaining during a convention, is virtually unheard of. The last person that I remember that actually happening about was George McGovern. It may have happened possibly when Hubert Humphrey was nominated. I think he was nominated. But besides that, that was it, the 1960s. I don't remember there ever being another one. Potentially, maybe Jimmy Carter's second presidential run, or Gerald Ford's first president run after Ford's first full term. That's really about it that I would imagine this happens. So this does not happen often. Okay. Now, today's poll indicated that Hillary is leading in double digits in California and has a +1 lead in some weird reason in Missouri. I'm not quite sure what that is about. Because it's a weird convention bounce that happened in the mid South, so Southern Midwest. So we'll have to wait and see if that holds up. With all of that in mind, if the election were held today, based on the latest presidential data, which I have sourced from Real Clear Politics aggregation of polls. My computer is freezing. Okay, we have the following. Clinton wins Washington, Oregon, California, Colorado, New Mexico, Missouri, Colorado, New Mexico, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, Illinois, D.C., Maryland, Delaware, New Jersey, Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Massachusetts, as well as 3 out of 4 delegates, electoral votes from Maine. For Donald Trump, and she also gets Hawaii. For Donald Trump, he gets Alaska, Texas, Nevada, Utah, Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, North Dakota, South Dakota, 4 of 5 electoral votes in Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma, Arizona, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Florida, South Carolina, Tennessee, Kentucky, West Virginia, and 1 of Maine's electoral votes. Hillary is the most vulnerable right now in North Carolina and Missouri. Trump is the most vulnerable right now in Arizona, Iowa, and Georgia, as well as the 1 electoral vote in Maine. There are two states that last polling data had it incredibly close. which means they're basically a toss-up at the moment. That's Virginia until the next polling data. I expect that with the nomination of Tim Kaine, that Hillary Clinton's will be shown leading in Virginia. And Ohio is also a swing state, a toss-up. If the election were held today, Hillary Clinton would win 284 to 222, not counting the two states that we don't have data for at the moment, Ohio and Virginia. Now, the general election poll released today, done by Reuters, has Clinton at +5. He's completely reversed the trend of the general election trend from the LA Times polls. But she loses 5, Trump gains 2, and she loses 3 if you throw in Johnson, the Libertarian, and Stein, the Green Party candidate. A couple more interesting polls of note. Right now, Clinton wins in Pennsylvania by 9. But perhaps the most damning news for Hillary is that California and New York's polls, even though she is leading in double digit, her lead has halved. This is incredibly damning for someone who has just been into a convention. The California poll was released on Friday, so a day ago. And it has her going, both of them have her going from 30 down into the lower 10s and in the teens. That would be frightening if I was Hillary. I wouldn't call it too embarrassing, but I would watch out. As expected, we also have in Vermont on a Wednesday poll, she's leading by 22. That's the sort of numbers you would expect from Clinton in the Northeast and on the West Coast. That's it for today. Join us next time as we break down some more polls and some more news articles. Thank you. Bye.